Again, if you want to lay down with him because you want to, and you're completely okay with whatever happens next, that is your choice as a grown woman, okay? And what I mean by whatever happens next, that means if you don't receive a phone call from him the next day, if you're gonna be pissed off because you got it in with him, all right, then you shouldn't be doing it. If you're gonna be like, oh, well, you know what? It's disappointing he didn't call, but at least I got some. Hey, then that's your thing, okay? But more importantly, do not do this with the idea that this will reel him in. It might attach him to you. Notice I use the word attach. But even though the title of this video is hooking him earlier stages, I don't want y'all creating unhealthy attachments. I want y'all to find the person you have a real connection with and can experience real love with. And so real connection does not require rushing into intimacy, rushing into sex so soon. That's simply not necessary. When the guy really likes you, he's going to be a little more patient. Now, granted, some guys may not be ready mentally for complete abstinence, so to speak, or there's a deadline in their head of how long they can take this, all right? But I think in the very early stages, people are much more flexible and much more accommodating when they're much more serious and intentional about who they're dating and who they're trying to get to know, all right? I've seen men who were essentially man whores, all right? Running through the streets all over the place with this one, that one, this one. Meet a woman, day one, come to me and say, oh my gosh, I think she could be the one, and tell me he does not want to rush being intimate with her. All right? So the same guy who, if those other girls weren't intimate with him quickly, he would have cut them off in a heartbeat, was completely willing to be patient with this specific woman. And that is typically what happens. Again, the amount of time a man can wait can vary due to various different factors, but you don't need to feel like you have to do this for him to like you. And any man who makes you feel like that has to happen for him to even like you and show intention, don't even take it serious. And he's not ready to build something on a stronger foundation, because though if you see my other videos, I definitely believe that intimacy is extremely important. Physical, emotional, all levels of the intimacy. But the foundation must be connection. The foundation must be we truly like each other. The foundation must include a level of friendship. That's what needs to be established. And so focus on that. Do not rush yourself hoping that's going to make him stick around or like you more. All right, and now the last one before we move on to what to do to hook him. And this one, again, could get a little tricky. So I'm going to try to navigate it as best as possible. Number 3 is cooking for him and playing housewife. All right? Now, let me be very specific here. I don't think there's anything wrong if, let's say you are, because some of y'all don't even cook, and that's fine. I'm not judging. All right? I'm not judging. But this clearly won't apply to y'all if you're not someone who cooks anyway. But for those of you who do, and maybe some of you who love it, right? It's a very natural thing for you to want to then cook for the man that you're really into and feeling. And my thing is, if you are cooking that day at home and you happen to have an extra plate for him, I don't think there's anything wrong with you giving him a plate. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking some portions out of what you made and allowing him to have a taste or a good meal one day. I don't think that's a big deal. However, when you get into the mode of playing housewife, where you are cooking for him, you're doing this for him, all right? It can get tricky. Now, I think that, listen, if it's a one special occasion early on and it allows him to see you got some skills in the kitchen, I can't really argue against that. But I've seen women where it gets out of hand, all right? And now you are sliding into playing housewife. And you are constantly, consistently cooking for this man. And again, it's almost like you're giving him the benefits for a job that he hasn't officially been hired for. You know what I'm saying? And let's face it, it's almost like, yo, if I'm getting the benefits already before I'm officially hired and I'm required to give a certain level of work and commitment to this person, this company, what in the analogy I'm using, Well, if I'm getting the paycheck and the benefits, I'm just not going to come to work. For what? Like, I'm not doing extra work if I don't have to. So you got to be really careful with, are you letting a lot slide? And I think this is why it can get tricky, because there are some scenarios where the man in the dating process is pouring into you, is doing things for you, even though you guys have not made it official. And so you may feel more comfortable cooking for him consistently because, well, he does do for you too. And there are men who will make that argument. Well, if I'm doing for her, why she can't cook for me? And though I understand that argument, and I understand why I can get comfortable, or why people can slide into those roles, you got to be careful because, again, as I've told you in other videos, sometimes a man can act like your boyfriend and still not want to be your boyfriend, still not want to ever truly commit to you, still not see you as his future. And so this is why it goes back to, if when it's all said and done, if let's just say you're dating this dude and a few months in you start cooking for him consistently, let's say we're 7 months, I don't know why I jumped to 7 months, but we're 7 months down the road, and now you try to talk to him about an issue and he says, well, listen, we never made this official. You're not my girlfriend. We're not obligated here. If you're going to be mad because you've been cooking for this joker this whole time, that's where I want you to think ahead. I want you to be like, listen, if I'm put in this position because I haven't been given an official commitment and I'm going to feel salty about the fact that I did these things, then you shouldn't be doing them. But if you're like, hey, you know what? I did these things. I wanted to do them. I'm at peace with the fact that I did them, even though the end result wasn't what I wanted. Then as a grown adult, you have that choice and you're allowed to do what you want to do. So just be mindful of that, and because when that regret comes in, then you end up, I just have to say this one more thing. You end up like overcompensating in your next situation. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Relationships are the key to a successful life. But there's 5 areas that we have to be mindful of when it comes to relationships. There's relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, relationship with family and friends,